I think Amen Thompson easily has the highest ceiling of any player in the Houston Rockets. I think he has franchise player upside. He's one of the most unique talents to enter the NBA in recent memory, from his physical and athletic profile to his skill set and projections and his path to the NBA. Is Amen Thompson the savior of the Houston Rockets? Is he the face of a new era in Houston basketball? How good will he be as a rookie and in the future? Well, I'm gonna try and answer that in this video, but quickly before we go any further, if you're new and like basketball, I would really appreciate if you would like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, and liking and subscribing are the two best ways you can help me out in the YouTube algorithm and help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's try and get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. Anyways, let's talk about Amen Thompson. Getting Amen Thompson at pick 4 is incredible value, and it also speaks to how good this draft was, because most years you would need at least a top 3 pick to get a prospect with this kind of upside. To put it into perspective, he has the same prospect grade that I had on Paolo Banchero, and I had a monster grade on him. I also have a slightly higher grade on him as a prospect than Anthony Edwards when Edwards was coming out of Georgia. At 6'7", 215 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan, Amen Thompson is a freak athlete. He will be in consideration for one of the 5 best athletes in the NBA the moment he steps onto an NBA court. He combines freakish burst, quickness, speed, body control, flexibility, vertical pop, and range, as well as fluidity. And it is in a combination that just shouldn't be possible. It's a combination that makes it feel like Amen is playing a completely different sport than his opponents, and while people have tried to say that's because he was facing younger competition in OTE, he was still a completely different level of athlete that felt like he was on a completely different playing field as an athlete against grown men, like in a scrimmage against an NBL team, the TBT tournament, and Summer League. When you combine that with his skill, you see the potential for a franchise player. He's an elite playmaker, the best playmaker from this draft class. He has legit primary playmaking upside. His feel for the game is off the charts. He can attack the basket as a rim pressure threat, and he has unreal defensive upside due to his athleticism and ground coverage. Now, he's not perfect by any means. If he was perfect, he would have gone first overall. He needs to work on his 3-point shot and overall shooting in general. His free throw numbers weren't great, and the form needs work. But he shows enough encouraging signs in that area to buy into developing it into a respectable level in due time. And he also could improve his defensive consistency, but that feels more like a technical thing on tape than an effort thing. I never feel like he's lacking effort, and when you have those tools and have the motor to give effort on every play the way he does, I do think that is promising enough to suggest that he could develop into an all-defense level guy. This is a 6'7", one-of-one type athlete with legit primary playmaking and all-defense upside. And that's a player worth being excited about, and also a player I believe that has the potential to be worth building around. As a rookie, I don't expect Amen Thompson to be a starter, at least not right away, but I also think he's too good to not give real minutes either, so I think he will start the season as the 6th man, but I could see him averaging 25 to 30, maybe even more than 30 minutes per game because of his defense, and Ime Udoka is a coach that values guys that put in the work on defense, and Amen Thompson does put in the work on defense. I also wouldn't be shocked if he does take the starting job eventually because of the defense, and also because he's just too good to deny. Amen Thompson is currently the 5th ranked rookie in my preseason Rookie of the Year rankings, and that's mostly because he won't be starting as a rookie, while Victor, Scoot, Chet, and Miller all project to be starters in situations that they could thrive in. I think in another situation, Amen could be as high as number 2 or 3 in Rookie of the Year rankings going into the season. but given the situation, it might hurt his numbers early on. But I still think he's going to put up really good numbers for a rookie. My rookie stat projection for Amen Thompson is 13.6 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game, 6.1 assists per game on 47.3, 28.2, 67.1 splits. I think he will bring value as a playmaker and on defense, which the Rockets need desperately. And I do think he will make them a better team this upcoming season. I'm not saying they're going to be playoff or play-in level, but I think that they're going to be more competitive than they were this past season. And I also think as the season goes along, the Rockets will realize this is the player to build around, even if he's behind Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Alperen Sengun, and Jabari Smith Jr. for most of the season in terms of scoring pecking order. I think his playmaking will just be too hard to deny, and eventually they will realize like this is probably our future franchise player. And I also think he will benefit from playing next to guys like Jalen Green, who's not a terrible three-point shooter, but not a great one either, but he's more than capable, and his scoring gravity could open up opportunities for men. And Jabari Smith Jr., who I think is going to have a breakout year too, as one of the better stretch fours in the league. And when you look at his skill set, it's very adaptable. And I think that because his feel for the game is so high, and he's a very skilled player, I think he will find ways to be productive within the context of the Houston Rockets offense, even with a lot of guys in Houston getting more shots than him. I think Amen Thompson's best possible outcome in the NBA is a superstar level player, which, once again, like I always say, and you guys who have been subscribed for a while know, I don't say that lightly. I think he had the highest ceiling in the 2023 NBA draft of any player not named Victor Wembanyama. I think his ceiling is even higher than Scoot Henderson, and you guys know how good I think Scoot Henderson could be. I think if a man hits his 100th percentile outcome, he could very well be the second best player from this draft, maybe even the best. As one of the most feared rim pressure threats, a guy that could be one of the best playmakers in the NBA, while also, again, just being that guy that he's going to get to the rim at will, and one of the best guard wing defenders in the league. My potential peak stat projection for Amen is 23.2 points per game, 8.7 rebounds per game, 9.3 assists per game on 54.2, 35.1, 78.9 splits. Now, this is contingent on him reaching respectable levels of shooting, which isn't a guarantee by any means, but I am optimistic, and respectable is the level I believe he would have to reach in order to get to this level of play. And I do think that it is realistic that he does become at least respectable and get to a level where they can't leave you on an island and you can punish defenses from time to time when they do go under the screen, because you're just that good of an athlete and not going to be able to stop you if you go over the screen. It's basically a guaranteed 2 points if they go over the screen, which will probably be something that's true in his rookie year when they go over screens. That's going to be the easiest 2 points of his life. But getting to a level of shooter will be the big thing that could potentially get him to this level. If he reaches anything above respectable, we are talking about something that really isn't realistic. I do think he could get better as a shooter. He seems committed to getting better as a shooter. But unlike Asar, who showed better three-point shooting production in games, I do think that Amen isn't as willing to shoot, even if he is willing to shoot the basketball. But again, respectable is just the level he'll probably be at his absolute best. I will say this. If he becomes a good to great three-point shooter and everything else develops, like the passing and the defense, he won't just be the best player from his draft class, even over Victor Wembanyama. That's how good Amen Thompson would be if he was a great three-point shooter. He would be better than him. I also think he might be the best player in the world. Now, he didn't go first, second, or third overall because the jumper is a question. And it's really unrealistic to believe he'll become a great shooter. But I do see enough of a willingness to shoot and a willingness to improve to believe that he could get to the level that would be required of him to reach his best possible outcome, in my opinion. I don't think the jumper is the swing factor of him being good or being bad. It's the swing factor for him being good or being great. Now, obviously, it's no guarantee that Amen Thompson becomes a superstar. It's no guarantee that any player entering the NBA becomes a superstar. That's something only time will tell. So, what about the other outcomes? The middle ground outcome for Amen Thompson, in my opinion, is a borderline all-star level player, like a DeJounte Murray caliber guard. That guy can put up all-around numbers that are really good, make an all-star team or two, be all defense good as absolute best. But as the main guy, you're looking at the play-in tournament at the best, and isn't quite a consistent all-star either. Now, like I mentioned in previous videos, the most realistic expectations are somewhere in between the middle and highest outcomes, and I think the realistic expectation for a man is a legit all-star caliber player, someone that can make all-star teams consistently and maybe make a few all-NBA teams, depending on the record of the team he's on. Think of Baron Davis, Steve Francis, and Stephon Marbury in terms of caliber of player. Now, in terms of low-end outcome, I honestly think his floor is just really high, like I do with all the other top 5 rookies going into the season. At worst, I think he is starter or 6th man of the year caliber, and I don't say that lightly. That's a very high floor, but I do think he has too many tools. He has too many athletic gifts, too many basketball skills. The feel for the game is too high for me to believe that he won't be like 6th man on a team or starter level good at the absolute worst. Like, at worst, I think he's Ricky Rubio if he was a shonen anime character. The range of outcomes for a man all depend on the level of shooting he becomes. I heard some comparisons to Ben Simmons because of the shooting concerns, but they can do everything else like pass, rebound, defend, athletic, big guards. But I don't think it's a good comparison for a few reasons. They have different frames and play different positions. Amen Thompson is a 1-3, while Ben Simmons is a playmaking 4 that could play point guard at times if needed, but you don't really want him playing point guard at this point. And I also think Amen is way more willing to take jumpers and also more willing to put in the work to try and improve as a shooter, and will continue to in the NBA. And honestly, the other reason I disagree is, if Amen Thompson accomplishes what Ben Simmons has in his NBA career, it will be a massive success for a 4th overall pick. If your 4th overall pick makes multiple All-Star teams, an All-NBA team, and multiple All-Defense teams, that's a hit of a 4th overall pick. The only reason Ben Simmons is rightfully viewed as a massive disappointment is because he was the 1st overall pick, had the talent to be a great player, had a legit top 10 player in the league type upside, and so many times he could be a lot better than what he actually has been, which isn't the case for Amen Thompson. I think Amen Thompson will be a really good player in the NBA. How good he becomes will be determined by how much he continues to develop and improve on his swing factors. But he is a player with a really high floor. A floor that's much higher than people will give him credit for. And he has a ceiling that feels limitless, like there is no ceiling at all. Because when you have the athletic tools he does, the frame he does, the skill he does, the feel for the game he does, the sky is really the limit. It's no guarantee he becomes a franchise player, but he has all the tools to become one. And at the very least, he should be a contributor. I can't wait to see him next to Jalen Green in terms of athleticism next season, or this upcoming season, I should say, because that's going to be the most athletic backcourt in the league pretty easily, and one of the most athletic backcourts this sport has ever seen. Amen likely won't start right away. They gave Fred VanVleet a lot of money. I don't think the Rockets are a play-in level team either, but they're going to compete to be one. And that likely means that they're going to start the point guard that has won a title, was a key contributor on that title team, has made an all-star team, has been a starter on play-in and playoff teams, and they're going to give him the starting job. They gave him a lot of money for a reason. But I don't think that it will hinder Amen's development. He still likely projects to get a lot of minutes as a rookie because he's just that good. And because of what he brings on the defensive end of the floor and his high motor, Ime Udoka will give him minutes. I have no doubt in my mind about that. And that VanVleet contract is not a long-term contract. So, in a year or two, Amen likely will be starting. And I wouldn't be shocked if he takes the starting job even earlier than that. Because I think Amen has the talent, has the feel, has the tools and the gifts to be undeniable. Prove very early on that he's the player to build around. And I think that we could see a world where he might be the starter maybe midway through his rookie year, or maybe in his second NBA season, earlier than expected. He might be the face of that franchise. It's not a guarantee. We have to see him play in the NBA to confirm that he has that kind of potential, or he could be that kind of player, and only time will tell with how good he will be. But when you look at his tools, you look at the athleticism, you look at his feel for the game, look at the skill, it's hard to not at least consider the idea that he could be a franchise player. And if he hits his best possible outcome, he will break the NBA. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, notified whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, and liking and subscribing are the two best ways you can help me out in the YouTube algorithm and help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's try and get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. And let me know what you think about Amen Thompson in the comment section below. How good do you think he could be? How good do you think the Rockets are going to be? Where does he rank among the Rockets young players? Do you think he could be their franchise player? We'd love to hear all of that in the comment section below. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.